Hello, welcome to the Professional Development in a Box using games and activities to teach personal financial literacy. I'm Amy Lee with the Oklahoma Council on Economic Education, and I'm so excited to be able to partner with the Oklahoma State Department of Education to bring you this opportunity. We know that getting out of the classroom is next to impossible, especially with scarce resources, whether that be your time or just finding a substitute teacher is very difficult. And so we are looking for new and creative ways to bring you new ideas, resources, ideas, and ways to teach personal finance. So we hope that this provides a really excellent opportunity and way of delivering professional development to you. So what we are first going to do is go over the box that you've received, and I have mine right here, and we're going to go through the box with you. I'm going to do a brief demo with you of all of the games that are in there to give you an overview of how to conduct that in the classroom. We're going to review the Google Drive that we have created to accompany the box that includes electronic versions of all the things that you have received so that you can make more copies if you need to, or just have those for future use. And then instructions for getting your Amazon gift card for completion and other things that go along with that. So first, we're going to start off with why games. Games are certainly fun. Sometimes they can be a challenge in class. It creates almost too much excitement and a little bit more work. But we know that they absolutely work. They provide more collaborative learning, fosters discussion, and research shows multiple areas of research show that it increases student participation, it fosters social and emotional learning, and it motivates students to take risks, which is a big part of personal finance, and just exploring new opportunities and options. And then also what we're really after is research shows that it improves student learning and the concepts that the games are focused on when you're using games in specific areas of the content that you are teaching your students. So let's get started. I'm going to go through the box with you. All right, so the first item that you will have received on the very top of your box is this note that PD in a box, and it has the and I'm going to fix my screen here for just a second, but it has kind of how to get started, going through your box. And then the next part is clicking on the video link, which right here, and which has brought you to this video that you're watching. So you're already at that point, and then instituting one of these activities in your classroom, whether you can choose to do more, but we ask you at least do one of those before you take the survey and the response to it. And that is your link to go to the survey and response questions for the personal finance. And then that will prompt us to send you your gift card, and then also your professional development certificate. There's also a QR code at the back, at the bottom of the page, that will take you to the Google Drive with all the electronic versions of what's in the box. All right, so the first activity that I'm going to show you is the hula hoop Venn diagram activity. So I'm going to take the sheet out of there that has a guide. So there it is, hula hoop Venn diagram. And this covers a lot of standards. This really introduces several opportunities. It starts to discuss banking and financial services, your standard 3.2, then also borrowing money, standard 7.1. Discussing credit cards, and then it really goes into and covers the most in standard 8, credit cards and online shopping. So in this hula hoop Venn diagram, students are going to be comparing credit cards versus debit cards and the differences between those two. So there's in your bag are these great little hoops. We couldn't send you giant hula hoops, or that would be challenging with everything. So we found ones that you can put together, and we thought this would be great for storage too. Then you can just undo them and store them a little bit more easily. So you make your hula hoop. creates, a regular size hula hoop here. It's always fun to have hula hoops. Who knows what else will happen in your classroom with these hula hoops. And then you create that Venn diagram. You'll have two of them and you'll put that on your floor where you have intersecting circles. You could also tape them to your whiteboard and have students actually do the activity up on your whiteboard, but it's a lot easier to do it on the floor if you have some nice open space. So the first thing that you're going to do is to watch the video, Credit Card versus Debit Cards Explained in Under 2 Minutes by Mint. So I'm going to go ahead and show that video to you so that you have one less thing to do later on, is to go check out that video. And let's see, making sure that we are looking at the same thing. That's a Google Drive, but we are going to go over here to this, to the video, which is a link in your paper guide, which of course is hard to link to, but you can Google that. But then as you go to the electronic version here in your Google Drive, you'll be able to pull that link directly up. So here is a video.
Gone are the days of carrying cash. Now we look to credit and debit cards for our purchases. They may look the same, but how we use them are entirely different. A debit card links directly to your bank account. If you use a debit card to buy something, the money is taken immediately out of your checking account. Debit cards give you quick access to your money via ATMs with zero interest and no monthly payments or late fees. But beware, if you're a victim of identity theft or your debit card is stolen, it can take weeks to months for your bank to get that money replaced. If you try to spend without any available funds, your bank may let you, but you'll deal with overdraft fees. A credit card is a loan. When using a credit card, you are borrowing money to pay for your purchases. You can either make a minimum payment or pay the full balance owed each month. Most credit cards come with additional rewards such as travel points and hotel discounts. This is helpful when making large purchases. A credit card also builds your credit, which is important for bigger investments, like a house. Credit cards are useful to pay for emergencies such as car repairs or home damage. But keep in mind, credit cards come with fees. For example, a late fee can be applied if you don't pay your bill on time, which can affect your credit score. Most cards charge interest and some may come with an annual fee, so look out for those rates when applying. Consider your lifestyle to decide which one is right for you. Or why not have both? Visit Mint in your app store. We bring together everything from balances and bills to your credit score and more. It's your financial life in one place that's
Okay, so that's the video. It's quick and fast and only 2 minutes. So that's a great thing there. I'm going to stop the share there. So you've set up your hula hoops already. And in your bag, you have these labels that will go along with this activity. You'll place this is just the title of the Venn diagram, and then you'll place one of these labels on top of each of the hula hoops. So one of the hula hoops will have credit cards, the other will have debit card, and of course the intersecting kind of shape in the middle will be where the similarities are of both debit and credit cards. Next, after you watch that video, you will pass out the cards that are provided to each one of your students. I can't remember exactly how many. I think there's almost 20. There may be a little bit over 20. So hopefully everybody in the classroom has enough, or you could make a couple extra and it's okay to have some duplicates. So you'll give one of these cards to all of your students and then ask them to place them where it belongs in the Venn diagram. What you could also do is play the video, give them their cards, then watch the video again, since it's only 2 minutes. That way it's has another opportunity to gain that information. They can really see again where their card goes. There are a few cards that aren't specifically said in the video, but hopefully there'll be enough information provided in the video that they can deduce where that card goes. So that is how that activity works. Then after they are done, you can move, after they place their cards in the Venn diagram, then you check their work and all the labels and make sure that they are in the correct place. We have provided a guide for you that says which card goes in each spot, whether it goes in a credit card, debit card, or it's a similarity. We've also created a picture of what the final product should look like. In the photocopied version, it's hard to see the individual cards. You can kind of get an idea of how it's supposed to be laid out. And of course, you can blow that up in your electronic version. But some of the examples are, I'll just read a couple of them. Most issuers provide card holders with reward points that can be redeemed for cash or gifts. So that's obviously credit card. And then card holders borrow money from issuers and pay back later each month. Again, another credit card. You are paying with borrowed money, again, a credit card, and this one card is linked directly to the card holder's bank account. And so that one would go under debit card. Let me see if I can find a one that is for both of them. Has a 16-digit card number written on it. So that'd be one where it's similar. So one of the main points that is you or kind of to identify in this lesson with the students is that while credit card and debit cards look alike and they're operate in a very similar way, how they are used is very different. And it's very important for students to understand the risk versus reward and the good opportunities for each of those cards and how they can benefit you. But also the challenges that go along with them. Again, and then a big part of that is fraud protection and comparing the two, how one immediately impacts your bank account and the other doesn't. So maybe for particular purchases, a particular card should be used. However, there is a lot of overspending can really easily occur with credit cards. So that could be something that students could identify. Is that something that they can handle and that they need to be really aware of and aware of that? There's a supporting article that you could have students read and go over with them from NerdWallet, credit card versus debit card, which is safer online. That could be an extra activity that is provided to them or that you ask them to read ahead of class or after class and identify a couple interesting items that they found in that article. This activity can also be followed for more in-depth and to really get into more information with the Oklahoma State Department of Education's lesson, credit cards, they're more than plastic. And that link is provided for you in that lesson. So that is the Venn diagram hula hoop activity. It's fun. And obviously you could just draw some circles up on the whiteboard and that can work too. But this can provide just another way and something different in the classroom, something different that they're seeing and what is going on. You could also use this for other standards. This would be great for renting versus buying in standard 10. And you could also reverse it where you introduce those concepts in that lesson and then give the students index cards and ask them to fill out characteristics of those items. So there's lots of different ways you could do this. You could do banks versus credit unions, all sorts of different things could be used for this one. However, this one is focused on credit card versus debit cards. Okay, so that's the first activity there for you. So I'm going to drop this on the ground here. Okay, so the next one that we are looking at is juggle your spending. So in this bag, there it is, juggle your spending. And we're also calling it the beach ball game, or beach ball toss is kind of what it is. But the focus on this is looking at ways to managing your budget, your bank account, and how spending works. So this is focused on standard 4.1, explain the reasons for balancing an account register, reconciling, watching your account, keeping track of information. So this one, you have 2 beach balls, which have been provided for you. And so you can have your some student volunteers blow those up for you. So 2 beach balls. Then you will ask for 12 volunteers, or depending on your class size, you can have up to 12. More than 12 gets a little busy and too much going on, but you should have at least 4 volunteers that are playing the game. You'll give each one of the those volunteers and these numbers that have been provided to you, 1, 2, 3, 4, and it goes up to 12, or is what you have in your packet. You will also ask for 2 recorders, so 2 people that need 2 pieces of paper and the writing utensil. So you have your volunteers with your numbers and stand in a circle and show them the beach balls. And sometimes you can, when I've done this before, sometimes I'll even write on the beach ball because we explained that the ball represents money. And so it could be in the form of cash, check, debit card, credit card, Venmo, Cash App, however they're spending money. There's so many different ways to spend money these days. And that's another point of this game. So tell them that they're going to be passing around the beach ball, and every time there's a toss, that represents a transaction that we spend our money. So you're going to ask one of your recorders to record just one for the first game, to record the pass to each person, and tell them that they're going to pass a ball, but they cannot pass a ball to the person standing next to them. So that's what you do. So have the players play the game and wait for about 15 to 20 passes to occur before you kind of pause the game or ask them to stop. So at that point, you select one of the players, just one in the circle, to ask them to tell you the order in which the ball was passed. Most likely, they're going to be able to identify the first person that it was passed to, the second person. After that, it's going to get difficult. Other students may try to help them. Don't let them, because the point is that you are the only one that can monitor your money. Other people cannot help you do that. And so that's an important thing. So once that, you may even ask another representative to see if they can remember. And after that happens, and then you ask the recorder to give the order in which the transactions did occur. So then remind them that it's relatively easy for us to remember maybe the first two or couple passes or transactions, but after a few, it's just difficult to keep up with. So it's really important that they monitor their bank account, that they're watching it, that they're paying attention, that they're recording it in the best way that they see fit. Then the next step is, then you're going to add the second ball into the game, and you're going to introduce that as a second spender to the game. So this happens a lot. This could be two roommates. This could be a spouse, another spender. Sometimes parents and kids share a card, or share a card or an account. It could be lots of different ways. Sometimes students hand over their card for somebody to go buy lunch and don't realize what else could be going on. So it's really important that that's what that represents. So you add that second spender to the game, and now they're going to be tossing. You play the game again, except now there's two balls, and you ask the second recorder to track one ball, and while the recorders each tracking one ball. So obviously it's going to get a little very chaotic, and as far as keeping track of the ball and the spending. And so ask them, kind of repeat those same points, that it's important to record and to monitor your spending, and that you're the only one that can do that. And then if there is another spender, that it's important to have a plan and a system of how that money is being spent, and monitoring those transactions. So that is juggle your spending, or the beach ball toss, which is just a great way to reflect why that's so important. You can't just assume that it is being taken care of. We hear from banks all the time that work with us that they have young people, and not always young people, but often young people that will come in or give them a call. They'll come into the bank and say, something is going on with my account, I'm missing money out of it. And they're adamant that is what's going on. And as they really sit down to look at it, they realize that they had made all those transactions. They just didn't keep up with what was going on. So that's really important. It's a good question to maybe ask students, how often should they be tracking? Because maybe they think just doing it once a month is good. So it's good to also talk about, kind of have a discussion about frequency. Are you looking at it once a day, and then maybe reconciling it, kind of going through and really looking at where, how much are you spending on food? It's good to have those discussions, and so that they know what is a reasonable amount of monitoring for it. If they think once a year is enough, that obviously isn't going to cut it. So great discussion there. Okay, moving on to the second game. This is my favorite game. in personal finance education. It's a very popular one. Some of you may already be familiar with it, but it's just one of the best ones, how to become a millionaire. This is a great way to start out a personal financial literacy class. It's a great game to play on a Friday. It's a great, if maybe you're in the middle of some tough concepts, you're getting into taxes or bankruptcy, or it's just kind of a long discussions and you need to break things up. And this is a great game and activity to play called How to Be a Millionaire. So, and it covers all sorts of different, it doesn't really identify, it's not a specific standard because it really covers a lot. And it's just a great way for students to really, it applies the most, I would say, to standard one, but it's just a great way to, on budgeting and keeping track of your money and how important it is to protect your money and your assets. This lesson comes out of the the Financial Fitness for Life book, which was recently updated. And this is provided for you in your box. And the book also has a guide of standards correlation to the Oklahoma academic standards and personal financial literacy. So you can see how the lessons match up to the standards and which areas it covers. So this lesson comes out of the book, How to Be a Millionaire. We have provided the direct copy just to kind of pull it out and make it easy. When I play the game, I definitely like to have the copy available so I can use it as a guide and the talking points. And so now I'll show you how it's going to be played. So this is my favorite game because the students get so competitive and they get so into it and they really see the lifestyle of people that have acquired wealth and what those characteristics should be. So what they're going to play is essentially a true and false game, and you'll have them break up into groups. And I've seen where I've heard teachers say, or I've seen it actually where they'll just not actually play the game and they'll just have they'll just kind of list off the true and false statements and not actually have the students break up into teams and play the game and get competitive with it. And that can of course happen, but the learning is definitely different. So I really encourage you to take the time to play the game. And that's what this is all about. That's where the real learning and engagement and excitement for this is going to happen, and where they're going to see that personal finance is fun and that they can be good at managing their money. So like I said, they're going to play a true and false game. Each team and break them up into teams of about 2 to 3. You could do more than that if needed, but that's what I would recommend is to players of 2 or 3. They're each going to get a true or false card. And then they're also going to get a Millionaire Game score sheet. We provided copies, sets of 5 for everything in all the boxes. You may need more than that, but we wanted to at least provide 5. They could also just use a regular sheet of paper after we explain how this works. And then millionaire cards. And this is where they can double down on their responses. So what you will do, how this works, is that you will read a statement, a true or false statement, and then the teams together, they will discuss amongst themselves whether they think it's true or false. When they are ready with their answer, they will hold up their sign in the air. That will be your indicator that they're ready. If they feel really confident about it, they can millionaire it. So how the points work is after the first item is read, they will, if they got it correct, they will receive 5 points. If they got it incorrect, it'll be a negative 5 points. If they have decided to millionaire it, then they will gain 10 points. However, if they got it incorrect with a millionaire card, they will lose 10 points. So that's where it gets really intense with these questions. There are in the instructions, they can decide if they want to, if you want to limit the amount of millionaires. I think it says it's 5, they can only do 5 millionaires. That's up to you. You could let them millionaire as many as they want. Of course, reducing the amount really creates some scarcity of when they want to use it. So that's a good lesson to go along with it. So I'm going to give you some examples. There is a PowerPoint that goes along with this. So you can flip through the PowerPoint and read that and use that as your guide, or you can just read them out loud. The PowerPoint is very easy to access, and we provided it in our in the Google Drive, and then it's also, I will show you on Econ Ed link where you can access that information. So Moving on to the statement. So I'm just going to read a couple of them. So statement number 2, you would read as a teacher, most millionaires work more than 40 hours a week. So then their students, your students would then decide what they think about that. And so they would, when they're ready. So in my team, I'm going to say that I think that's true. They work fewer hours a week. If they have a lot of money, they don't need to work. They can have other people work for them. This is what I hear a lot from students. So I think it's true, and I'm a millionaire. I feel really confident about that. Okay, so the answer, the response is that is indeed false. So I was wrong. And the response that goes with that you can use is that about 2/3 of millionaires work 45 to 55 hours a week. Many work more than that, but that is, they work more than the typical person because they are typically in charge of the business and they have to tend to respond to challenges and problems to keep the business running or whatever they are involved in. So in that case, I would have had a negative 10 points. So it goes through 15 different questions. You can obviously reduce the amount of questions if you have limited amount of time, or if you have a middle school class, so they get harder as they go along. Some of them involve, they get harder as they go along, and so that could be a way that you reduce it if needed. So, and one of my favorite ones is statement number 5, most millionaires drive expensive new cars. This is my favorite one because almost very frequently, I would say 80% of high school students will, if I'm a millionaire, I'm going to be driving a new expensive car. And the response to that is that that is indeed false. And most millionaires do not drive expensive new cars. They actually spend less than $30,000 on a car. Even though this was updated in 2018, I think we've still had inflation, especially with so many issues going on with cars. Car costs are much higher, but it still drives home the point, and that only 23% of millionaires drive a current year or new model car. So showing, and the point for this is that millionaires became a millionaire for a reason, because they protect their assets. Flashy things are typically not important to a millionaire, and they like to keep their money. So that is it's usually an eye-opener for students. And it goes on. Most millionaires work for very large companies. Most millionaires work in glamorous jobs such as sports, entertainments, and high tech. And so it really provides some great discussion in their groups on these answers. As I mentioned, they get a little bit harder, a little bit complex as they go on. Some of them, it actually goes into if a high school student invests, the difference between his or her earnings and the earnings of a high school dropout from age 18 to 67 at 8% interest, the high school graduate will have 5.5 million more than the high school dropout at age 67. Your math kids are going to immediately know, or maybe not immediately, but it's not going to take much to realize, yes, it's going to be somewhere much more in there or higher. So, so they get a little bit harder, but the point is not to necessarily get into the math of that, but just to provide that it's a dramatic illustration of the value of a high school diploma. So again, there are 15 statements. This is so fun. You will love playing this game. Your students will love playing this game. It's a great way to really get them to understand investing, protecting assets, protecting money, and just really being excited about learning about personal finance. It should be fun. They should be excited to be able to own their future, and that they have the control of doing that if they are really spending wisely and looking at and following their budget. We have also provided in this packet these stickers. We thought, if you're playing a game, you need some prizes, and students love stickers to put on their laptops or notebooks or anywhere else. So if they are a winner, then they get a Millionaire Club sticker that they can put on there, that they can have. So there are 30 of those stickers. So that way, if you have several classes or groups, you can use those obviously however you want, though. That can be a prize that you offer to the winning teams in your classes. If you would like more of those, we're glad to send you more. Okay, moving on to the next activity. We are going to go over the credit score challenge. And this is a little bit more of an in-depth game, but it also covers a lot of content and really goes deep into the standards. This mostly covers, or really highly covers, standard 7. It's called the credit score challenge. So it's talking about credit scores and analyzing sources of credit and different how your credit score impacts achieving or receiving those loans. So in your activity, they're going to be playing the game, the credit score challenge, and in your box or in your bag, you'll receive these game scores. They're long when you put them together. You can't, a great way to do it is to actually have them taped together so then they can be folded for future storage. We did not do that for you just because we wanted to make sure that they would get to you easily, but they would go together. What I really love about this game is that it really explains the levels of credit scores and the benefits and challenges of higher versus lower credit scores. So as you can see, they'll start on the bad credit score of 550, and then they can go up. And it explains, if you have a 700 credit score, that you get lower interest rates. If you go down, let's say to 450, it's difficult to rent an apartment. So it really shows off. I think sometimes students get confused, or what is a good credit score? What does that mean? And why is that important? So by playing this game, they can really understand that and visualize that. So they will start off with this game board that each team will have. It's really best to do students of 2 so that they can really get the impact of it. And we have provided little game pieces for your students to use. And so they will start off with that. And I also wanted to recognize, before I go any further, that this game was created by our friend Megan Kurtz. She's done a lot of really great, my phone is ringing here. She's done a lot of really great games, and she has several more in her collection. And what we have provided you with one of these. She has a webinar on the CEE Econ EdLink site, and that has all of this information. But I'll show you where this is in a little bit. So they will have received in your packet are also these impact cards, and then also decision cards. There is cutting involved with this. However, we have provided you with a brand new pair of sharp scissors to help you cut those. So there's a little bit of time involved in this one. We would have loved to have had these cut for you, but we just didn't have the manpower to cut this many sets of cards, but hopefully you can get a student to help you out with creating this card. So you're essentially creating a card deck. So students and their teams will then draw these different cards, and then they will either move up or down in the game board based on what they get. So I'll read a couple of them so you can get an idea. You consistently use less than 15% of the credit available to you. So therefore you'd be able to move up in your credit score game, and they would gain 100 points is what it says on that one. Then the average age of your accounts is 9 years. So you move up 100 points. And so that's something good for them to notice. It's important to start building credit as soon as possible, especially if you're young, so that you can build up that credit history and that credit length. You have successfully managed a variety of accounts for the last 4 years. So you move up 50 points. You pay an extra $100 on your car payment for 10 months. You move up 50 points. You regularly make small purchases with credit and pay off your credit card balances every month for 1 year, an additional 50 points. So now ones that would reduce your credit score. The credit limit of one of your credit cards has decreased by 20%. So you lose 50 points. You max out a credit card, you lose 50 points. So they draw each of these and then move up or down based on what they receive. So this really shows what actually impacts the credit score, and so they can understand the different points to that through game playing. Then there are also decision cards, and this is where they have to, when they draw these, they find, one of them says, you find yourself in a tough spot and can only pay one of 2 financial obligations by the end of the month, your student loan bill or your bill for a doctor visit. which one do you do? And then it guides them through that as well. So, so this is just a fun game that really has a lot of learning opportunities in it. Before they play the game, though, they do have an essential credit vocabulary sheet that each student will get that you could either make copies of that for them or provide it electronically, and however, whether that's in a Google Classroom or another format that you were using. Then after they play the game, there's a credit score challenge debrief where they go through and do responses on what happened in the game. So one of the questions is, which impact cards were the most damaging to you or your opponent's credit score? Which were most beneficial? And so then they write the responses for those. What in the game did you find most surprising? Explain. So a great response for them to really help understand that. There is a solution sheet for you, so that way when you are reviewing it, you have what those answers can look like to help make that easier and smoother for you. So that is a credit score challenge, and there's a little bit more involved in that, but that is essentially how it's played and is really one of my favorite new games. Megan Kurtz does a really great job at designing games, and I love all of her things that she has. So also in your box you have those new pair of scissors. So for some of that cutting that you are going to need to do, you get a new calculator that's for you, and then money glasses, because who doesn't need money glasses? So so there you go. So that is what is in your box. So let's go over to your the Google Drive now. So this is what the Google Drive looks like, and that's a link on that opening page. And I'm just going to open up a couple of these so you can see what that looks like. So we'll go to the How to Be a Millionaire game. The correlation for that is there in that drive. The Financial Fitness for Life Teacher Guide is also in there. How to Be a Millionaire Game lesson and instructions. And actually, I'm going to click on this. And okay, so you have that's the whole guide for financial fitness for life, not just How to Be a Millionaire Game. So you have the entire electronic version of that curriculum is right there. And then the lesson, the PowerPoint, so you can just click right on that and pull up the PowerPoint to present while you're playing the game with students. And it does go through the instructions. So as you're introducing this to the students, you can have all that down for you. It also concludes with a rules for improving your financial life. So the kind of a debrief there. So and we will go back over here and then your true false cards if you need to print some more of those. Okay, let's go over let's check out the hula hoop and Venn diagram card activity. So you have the statement cards if you need to do those separately. And then also I'm going to go to the lesson, and I also provided almost all of these when I had them in a Word document. So if you needed to update them, change them up for your classroom, you have the ability to do that. But then of course the PDF so that it doesn't, formatting doesn't change. So you've got your video link there for the credit versus debit card and the supporting article by NerdWallet. And then also the activity that can be followed from the Oklahoma State Department of Education for more credit cards, more than plastic, that talks about that, which really is excellent information there. Okay, so back over here, so that kind of gives you a brief rundown of what that looks like. There's also one activity that we provided in the Google Drive that is not in the box, which is why is good credit important? And so this could be an additional game. You had the other game on credit, but one of the great things about this comes from the Federal Reserve of Atlanta, and if you aren't friends with the Federal Reserve Bank, you definitely should be. They provide so many great resources, all the different Federal reserves, and you can access resources from all the different branches. We are, of course, a part of the Federal Reserve Bank of Kansas City, Oklahoma City branch, and so if you're not already on their mailing list, you definitely should be. But this is is a particular set of materials that is comes from the Atlanta Fed, and they have a set of infographics that you can actually order. I'll show you how to order those. This is the electronic version. These are great for your classroom, and there's lots of activities around how to use these infographics for activities. Then there's understanding the credit score activity. And I think this is really fun. This is similar to the true false game, how to be a millionaire, at least how it's played. And students would break up into teams, and you would read statements, and then they would hold up whether that particular item decreases your credit score or increases your credit score. So there's some other components there, but wanted to show that to you. And how to order those resources. So we're going to go over, you could Google the Federal Reserve Bank of Atlanta and then go to education. And as you can see, there's lots of resources there. However, we are going to go to classroom tools, I think. I thought there was an infographics is right here. Then you want to go to infographics. As you can see, so there's lots of other things to check out, but then you go to online order form. And you can order these resources for free. That'll come straight to you. You fill out all your information. And then down here, you can click what you want them to send to you. So to go along with this, you can order this book. That's this right here, the activity book, and it has activities that go along with the infographic. So here is my infographic. Why is good credit important? And then it has all this great information. So excellent to have in your classroom. And so the activity book has really great. This is full of lots of information. So you should definitely order it so that you can have that in your classroom. And we have pulled out this, why is good credit important? So if you go down here and to personal finance, you can order just that one. Why is good credit important? But while you're at it, you should probably just order the full set of 8, and you'll get 8 infographics of really fantastic posters that you can put in your classroom. Okay, that is our walkthrough of this information. I'm going to go back to the main page here. Also, there's a poster provided of the financial literacy standards. That's that one right there, the green one. Just kind of a helpful printout to keep track of the standards. And then this is a direct link of the Oklahoma State Department of Education, the financial literacy standards. So you can have those just at easy access to those. So I'm going to stop sharing. And so the next step is to pick one of these games or activities to do in your classroom, do that with your students. And then after you've done that, if you will then go over to the response link that is there and fill out how that worked out in your classroom, what happened, how did that work out, and then that will prompt us to send you your Amazon gift card and then also send you your professional development certificate. So thank you so much for doing this. We'd also love in that response to hear how this worked for you. And was this a good way to deliver professional development? Was this video helpful? Did you have everything you needed? Did you feel like you could do this easily in your classroom? We want to know those things so we can make this better and find different ways to get professional development to you. All right, please let us know if we can help in any other way. And the Oklahoma Council on Economic Education, this is our purpose. We are here to help teachers K through 12 to teach personal finance and economics. So if you have any questions at any time, if you're looking for a resource, an activity, anything to teach those standards, that's what we're here for. And we love to get phone calls, emails, whatever it is to help you. That's what we do. All right. Have a great rest of your day. And I look forward to hearing from you. Bye-bye.